otu ndị ọrụ bụ NLC n'ogbo ya bụ TUC akwụsị abụba ọrụ dịka ọchịchị etiti arịọ mgbaghara. Aka na-achị steeti Enugu ekwupụta enyemaka ụgwọ ọnwa nyere ndị ọrụ bekee n'ogogo steeti na nke ime obodo. Ọzọ ntachi obi nke ụmụ akwụkwọ mahadum Godfrey Okoye ebido emume inye ndị gụchara akwụkwọ na ya agba nke 11 asambodo nzere mmụta ha. Cheta na ị nwere ike isonyere anyị n'onyonyo igwe ozi YouTube n'akara NTA Enugu. Igbo mụrụ mma nọ n'akụkọ ụwa nke taa. Aha m bụ Dominica Onyeokereke n'ozi akụkọ ụwa ka ọha n'uju ya. Otu ndị ọrụ emekọtara ọnụ akwụsịla abụba ọrụ ọ malitere n'ụbọchị 14 nke ọnwa Nọvemba afọ a. Nke a bụ n'ihi nzukọ ntụmadị nke otu ndị isi ọchịchị ala anyị na otu NLC na TUC wekọtara ọnụ n'ụbọchị 15 nke ọnwa abụọ ụnyaahụ bụ nke a nọrọ n'ime ya nyochaa nkwa ọchịchị etiti si n'aka onye ndụmọdụ ala anyị n'okwu nchekwa bụ Nuhu Ribadu webata na nzukọ mbụ ya na ndị otu ndị ọrụ bụ NLC n'ogbo ya nke ndị ahịa bụ TUC nwere. Akwụkwọ ozi emekọtara ọnụ nke onye odeakwụkwọ okwu otu NLC bụ Emmanuel Ugbaja n'ogbo ya nke TUC bụ Nuhu Toro biere aka na ya. Otu ndị ọrụ a emekọtara ọnụ kwuru na gọọmenti arịọrọ mgbaghara ha nabatara, kwee nkwa ime nyocha ma kpụpụ ndị aka ha dị n'ịkpọrọ n'ike na iti onye ndu otu NLC bụ Joseph Ajero ihe tinka kụrụ pan n'ụlọ ikpe. Otu ndị ọrụ abụọ a gaziri n'ihu ikpupụrụ alaka ha niile n'otu steeti niile okpu maka ndọnye ukwu ha na nrubeisi ha bụ nke mere ka ya bụ abụba ọrụ weta ebumnobi ya. Aka na-achị steeti Enugu bụ Peter Mba akpọpụtara ọnụego dị 10,000 ruo 25,000 dịka ego enyemaka nyere ndị ọrụ bekee na-arụ ọrụ n'ogogo nke steeti na nke okpuru ọchịchị ime obodo nakwa ndị nkụzi praịmarị n'ogbo ha nke sekọndịrị na steeti a iji belata ihe nhịahụ mwepụ ewepụrụ ego enyemaka mmanụ ụgbọala butere. Gọvanọ kwupụtara nke a oge ọ na-agwa ndị nta akụkọ na ndị ndu otu ndị ọrụ okwu n'obi ọchịchị ya. Akụkọ a ka mma n'ọnụ Chika Ugwu.
Gọvanọ Peter Mbah kọwara na kemgbe gọọmenti etiti wefuru ego ha na-etinye na mmanụ ụgbọala akpọrọ fuel subsidy, gọọmenti ya na-enwe mkparịta okwu ya na ndị otu Labour nọ na steeti a ịhụ ka ha ga-esi nyere ndị ọrụ bekee aka. Mkparịta okwu a bụ nke pụtara nkwekọrịta gọọmenti steeti a inye ndị ọrụ bekee ego site na $10,000 ruo $25,000 site na ọnwa Disemba ruo na ọnwa Eprel afọ 2024. O kwere nkwa na a ga-ebido kwa ndị ọrụ bekee minimum wage na oge na-adịghị anya. Gọvanọ Mbah gakwara ihu wee kwuo na akwụkwọ akpọrọ Social Register bụ nke ha ga-etikwu aha ọtụtụ ndị na-enwere ka ọ dị ha iji wee nyere ha aka ma belata ahụhụ ha na-ata. Ndị isi otu Labour na steeti a jiri ohere a wee kelee gọvanọ nke ukwuu maka ihe ọ na-emere ndị ọrụ bekee na steeti a. Ha wee kwee gọọmenti steeti a nkwa ịrụkọta ọrụ ha na ha inyere ndị ọrụ bekee aka. Site na Enugu, abụ m Chika Ugwu.
Nnọkọ ụmụ akwụkwọ na-enwe kwa afọ bụ nke tidoro isi n'ịkwalite mmekọrịta na ọnọdụ mmụọ ụmụ akwụkwọ ewerela ọnọdụ n'Enugu wee dọta ụmụ akwụkwọ sekọndịrị karịrị 6,000 n'ọnụọgụ sitere ụlọ akwụkwọ dị iche iche na steeti a. Chimaroke Ugwu mere ka anyị mata na emume ahụ nke akpọrọ nzukọta dị obi ụtọ were ọnọdụ n'ama egwuregwu Nnamdi Azikiwe ma wetakwa ọtụtụ okwu mgbamume na nkụzi ezi omume n'ime ya. Nnọkọ ahụ wetara n'uju ya emume otu afọ nke a haziri ka ọ kụnye n'ime ụmụ akwụkwọ agụụ ịgụ akwụkwọ, ezi omume na ịkpọ ihe ọjọọ asị. Onye tụpụtara atụmatụ ahụ bụ Oriakụ Joy Ogbonna na ndị ọzọ kwuru okwu n'emume ahụ ji otu olu kwuo na ọ dịghị obodo ọbụla nwere ike ịga n'ihu beresọ ma ụmụntakịrị na ụmụ akwụkwọ ya adị njikere iweta ya bụ ọganihu. N'ihi nke a, ha doziri ọdụ ị na-akụziri ma na-agbaziri ụmụntakịrị n'ụzọ ha ga-eso iji nweta ọganihu n'obodo. Isiokwu emume nnọkọ ahụ nke afọ a bụ ụmụ akwụkwọ Naịjirịa dịka ndị na-eweta mgbanwe dị mma n'obodo. Ụlọ nzukọ omebe iwu ukwu ala anyị ajariela ọchịchị etiti ka o welite ogogo ngalaba njem ụgbọ oloko na mpaghara ọwụwa anyanwụ bụ okporo oloko si Port Harcourt wee gaba Maiduguri site na mpịọmpịọ ọnọ ugbu a gaa n'obosala ọnọdụ. Nke a sochiri nkwado amụma nke Sinetọ Victor Ume nke otu ndọrọndọrọ Labour sitere Anambra mara nakwa nke ndị omebe iwu ukwu 31 ndị ọzọ kwadoro na nzukọ ha nwere. Mgbe ọ na-atụpụta amụma ahụ, Maazị Ume kwuru na okporo oloko dị n'akụkụ ọwụwa anyanwụ ala anyị si etiti mpaghara anọ nke South South, South East, North Central na North East nke obodo anyị wee gafee. Nke a si Port Harcourt gata Enugu ruo Makurdi, Jos, Bauchi na Maiduguri, nke mere o ji bụrụ ọkacha n'ogologo nakwa otu n'ime okporo oloko kacha dị ochie n'ala anyị. O kwuru na njem okporo oloko na-arụ ọrụ n'obodo anyị etu o kwesịrị, ọ ga-ebenata oke ọnụọgụ ụgbọala nọ n'ụzọ ma mee ka ha ghara ị na-aka nka n'oge. Onye omebe iwu ahụ kwuru na ịrụgharị na imezigharị mpịọmpịọ okporo oloko sitere Port Harcourt gaa Maiduguri bụ nke ezupụchaworo ihe ndị dị na ya, gbahapụ ma hapụrụ ya ahịhịa na osisi ka ha toro gaba. Ọ gbara ọchịchị etiti ume ka ọ zọpụ ije ozigbo iwulite okporo oloko bụ Ọhabịa Kiribe si Port Harcourt wee gaba Maiduguri. Mahadum Godfrey Okoye amalitela mmemme o ji enye ụmụ akwụkwọ ya gụchaworo na ya asambodo nzere mmụta ha wetara bụ nke o jiri ọsọ ntachi obi nke naanị ụmụ akwụkwọ ya na ndị ọrụ ya gbara wee malite. Ka James Opere ka ọ chakọrọ gị akụkọ a n'uju.
Ihe ka narị mmadụ abụọ bụ ụmụ akwụkwọ na ndị na-akụziri ha bụ ndị so gbaa ọsọ a na-akpọ marathon nke ha bidoro na ụlọ akwụkwọ ha nọ na Tinkers Corner wee gbaruo ihe a na-akpọ kilomita 22 nọ na ugwu ọmụ ebe ha na-anọ ugbu a na-akpọ permanent site. Tupu ha pụọ, onye isi mahadum a na-akpọ ọkammụta Christian Aneke gwara ndị ụmụ akwụkwọ a sị ha jisi ike wụ ndị ga-agba ndị mbụ kama wee dụọ ha aka n'ọdụ sị onye emekwala ihe nghọgbu. Ebidozie ọsọ ahụ. Oge agbachara ọsọ a, nwa amadi a na-akpọ Samuel Stephen Amuga onye gbara nke mbụ, onye enyere asambodo ego. Ndị ọzọkwa sotere ya bụ Obi Confidence Ugochukwu, Hassan Farid na Chinedu Ebube bụ ndị nke Vice Chancellor nyechara ego dịka otu ha si wee gbata. Ndị ụmụ nwaanyị gbasokwara gbaa ihe a nke onye mbụ n'ime ha bụ Oji Elizabeth Ngozika, onye nke abụọ bụ Ọlaedo Ụnakụ na Ene Priska, bụkwa ndị nke ọzọ gbatara abụọ na nke atọ. Oge ọ na-agwa ndị nta akụkọ okwu oge emechara mmemme ọsọ a, onye Vice Chancellor bụ ọkammụta Aneke sịrị na convocation nke afọ a bụ nke 11 bụ nke e nwere ndị nwere ha na-akpọ first class bụ mmadụ 12, ebe ndị nwetara ha na-akpọ second class upper bụ ndị bụ narị mmadụ na 18, ebe ndị nwere second class upper bụ ndị bụ narị mmadụ 21. Ndị nwere nke a na-akpọ third class bụ mmadụ 34. Onye isi mahadum a sịrị na ụmụ akwụkwọ na-apụta na Godfrey Okoye University bụ ndị na-enweta ọrụ ngwa ngwa maka na na-akụziri ha ihe eji otu esi amụ ọrụ aka na ihe ndị ọzọ. N'Enugu, abụ m James Opere.
Igbo bụ Igbo n'ịpịacha akụkọ ụwa taa, kewo ntị n'isiokwu anyị ji mere akụkọ. Otu ndị ọrụ bụ NLC na nke ndị ahịa bụ TUC akwụsịla abụba ọrụ ha gara dịka ọchịchị etiti rịọrọ mgbaghara ha nabatara. Aka na-achị steeti Enugu akpọpụtala ego enyemaka ụgwọ ọnwa maka ndị ọrụ ya n'ogogo steeti na nke okpuru ọchịchị ime obodo iji benata ahụhụ ha na-agabiga n'ihi mwepụ ewepụrụ ego enyemaka mmanụ ụgbọala. Anyị kọkwara gị na Mahadum Godfrey Okoye amalitela mmemme o ji enye ụmụ akwụkwọ ya gụchara na ya asambodo nzere mmụta ha agba nke 11 bụ nke ha ji ọsọ ntachi obi wee malite. Ebe a ka akụkọ ụwa nke taa na-akụla ọnụ. Daalụ maka isonyere anyị. Kachifo.
On the news tonight, NLC and TUC suspend strike as federal government tenders acceptable apology. Enugu State Governor announces salary palliative for state and local government workers. Plus, Godfrey Okoye University students' marathon race kicks off on the 11th convocation. Remember, you can watch us live on our YouTube channel at NTA Enugu. Good evening and welcome to the news at 7. I am Chiegono Aro. Now details of the news. The organized labor has suspended indefinite strike which commenced on the 14th November 2023. This is sequel to the Emergency Joint General National Council NEC meeting of the NLC and TUC held on the 15th of November 2023, in which a thorough view of the offers presented by the federal government through the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, during its earlier meeting with the leadership of both centers. A joint statement signed by General Secretary of NLC, Emmanuel Ubwaja, and that of TUC, Nuhu Toro, the organized labor says government has tendered an acceptable apology and promised to carry out investigations and prosecute those involved in the abduction and brutalization of the NLC President, Joseph Ajero. The labor bodies went on to salute all their affiliates and state councils for their unwavering commitment and tenacity, which contributed to the success of the nationwide strike. Enugu State Governor Peter Mba has announced salary palliative for 10 to 25,000 naira for state and local government workers, as well as primary and secondary school teachers, to cushion the effect of fuel subsidy removal. The governor made this known during a joint media briefing with the state labor leaders at the government house. Chika Ugu was there.
Mba explained that since the removal of the petroleum subsidy, the state government has been in constant negotiation with the labor unions in the state, crafting ways to provide palliative to the teeming workforce. This resulted to the decision of cash awards of 10,000 naira to 25,000 naira to state workers effective from December this year to April 2024. He assured that the new minimum wage negotiation will soon be concluded and implemented. The governor also hinted that the social register list would be expanded from 43,000 to accommodate 260,000 indigent people in the state. This is a platform for cash transfers and other social interventions to elevate the sufferings of the people.
The state has set aside about 1.5 billion to ensure that we embark on a lot of community social development programs. In addition to the construction of 260 smart schools, we're also doing teachers' quarters. So the idea is that our teachers, those teaching in primary school, would live within a close proximity to where they are teaching.
The labor leaders in Enugu State expressed gratitude to the state governor for his proactive steps towards the welfare of the state workers.
In the past, you have to beg, you have to lobby. But this one just came on its own. Our promotion is also on the way for 2023.
We are showing you our support, because if you fail, it means we'll crash. But if you succeed, we will also be successful. The success is ours.
The state government and the labor leaders agreed to continue to work in tandem to improve the welfare of workers in the state. In Enugu, Chika Ugu, NTA News.
An annual convention of students committed to social and emotional development has held in Enugu with more than 6,000 participants from various secondary schools across the state in attendance. Chimarokugu reports that the event, tagged Pleasant Gathering, was at Nnamdi Azikiwe Stadium and featured motivational and moral talks.
The convention brings to a climax year-long activities designed to inculcate in the students a culture of reading, morality and high ethical standards.
We should be good ambassadors and agents of transformation in our society.
Avoid bad friends, because bad friends destroy good manners.
The vision bearer, Mrs. Joy Obonna, and other speakers on the occasion were unanimous in their submission that no nation can experience true transformation and positive change until the students are fully equipped for the process. They therefore advocate that children be courteously and consciously guided to fit into their role as agents of transformation.
Our mandate is to equip and to empower the next generation, to make them become a people of integrity with high ethical standards. And attention needs to be given to them at this point, so that we can actually serve as interventionists and also preventionists to the social vices we are seeing in the society today. We are collaborating with them to see that our children whom we see as the future of tomorrow and as agents of transformation that will put their interests at heart.
To promote that culture of reading, good morals, interactions, and certainly by so doing, we're helping children to build a great future.
It's important that the government begins to fund the things that are important. One is the education of these students. What has gone on today is a lot of seminars, a lot of teaching that these students can grow from. The government needs these students because they are the future of tomorrow.
Theme for the 2023 Pleasant Gathering is Nigerian students as agents of transformation. In Enugu, Chimaroke Ugu, NTA News.
We take a short break here. We shall be right back. Stay where you are.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way.
Hello friends, the Youth is here and Father Christmas arrives NTA Enugu on Monday, 4th December 2023. Visit to his grotto at NTA Enugu begins on Tuesday, 5th December 2023, where fabulous gifts await every child. The grand finale is on Saturday, 16th December 2023, with Christmas party and birthday party for those born in the month of October to December. There will be lots of exciting games, dancing, fun, individual as well as school performances, not forgetting a lot to eat and drink. That's not all. Mickey Mouse and Barney will also be there. Wow! Do not miss this wonderful opportunity. Venue, NTA Enugu premises. Time, 12 noon. Ticket, 1,000 naira for the party and 1,000 naira for the visit to Father Christmas. Parents, schools, churches, take advantage of this mega package and give your children a fun-filled Christmas to remember. Simply visit the marketing department NTA Enugu Network Center and purchase your ticket or call 0803-089-9214. NTA Father Christmas Show, still the best.
Welcome back. The Senate has urged the federal government to upgrade the Eastern Rail Line from Port Harcourt to Maiduguri from narrow to standard gauge. This followed the adoption of a motion by Senator Victor Ume of the Labour Party, Anambra, and co-sponsored by 31 other senators in plenary. Moving the motion, Mr. Ume said that the Eastern Rail Line passed through 4 zones of South-South, Southeast, North Central, and Northeast of the country. It runs from Port Harcourt through Enugu, Makurdi, Jos, Bauchi, and Maiduguri, which is the longest and one of the oldest rail lines in Nigeria. He said that a functional railway system in the country will help to reduce vehicular traffic on the roads and save them from constant dilapidation. The lawmaker said that rehabilitation and reconstruction of a narrow gauge rail line from Port Harcourt to Maiduguri had been vandalized, abandoned, and overgrown with weeds and trees. He urged the federal government to take immediate steps to build a standard gauge rail line from Port Harcourt to Maiduguri. The Godfrey Okoye University has kick-started its 11th convocation ceremony with students' marathon race strictly for its students and staff. James Opere-Kocha was there.
Over 200 students and members of staff took part in the second marathon of the university aimed at equipping the students' physical and mental well-being. Before taking off on the 22-kilometer distance race from the temporary site of the Tinker's Corner to the permanent site at Ugwamu in Enugu East LGA, the Vice Chancellor of the university, Professor Christian Aneke, charged the students to put in their best to emerge winners while warning them against cheating.
This is now about Godfrey Okoye University. If you cut corners, you will be expelled. Okay? Take note of this. Any form of cheating is expulsion. It's beyond not just punishing you, not just disqualifying you. You are expelled from the system, whether you're a member of staff or a student.
Then they take off. Take their back. At the final destination, and in a time of 1 hour 40 minutes, Samuel Stephen Amuga, a final year sociology student, emerged the winner and smiled home with 500,000 naira. Others in second and third position are Obi Confidence Gochuku, Hassan Farid Hassan, and Chinedu Ebube, who came fourth. All went home with prizes as presented by the Vice Chancellor of the university. In the female category, Oji Elizabeth Ngozika won the first prize in 2 hours 20 minutes, followed by Oledo Onoako and Ene Priska, who got 200 and 100,000 each, while 4 to 6 got 20,000 naira each, and 6 to 20 got 10,000 naira each. Addressing the media at the end of the marathon race, the Vice Chancellor said the 11th convocation ceremony is graduating over 1,000 students, with 12 students bagging first class, 128 students bagging second class upper, while 202 students bagged second class lower, with 34 third class.
It is their graduation we're talking about, not my own. So we try to do different things to show it's about your people. One of them is the student activities, still there, and another one is now the marathon.
The Vice Chancellor said graduates of the institution are well equipped in various skills that help them get jobs easily. In Enugu, James Oparekocha, NTA News.
A second break. Stay with us.
This world is not mine.
The family of late Mr. Joseph Ani of Ogo Ikem in Issues of local government area of Enugu State announced the death of our mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother, Mrs. Ezine Sarah Nwakago Ani Udoka, who went to be with the Lord on 20th July 2023. She died of old age at the age of 98. Funeral arrangement Thursday, November 16, 2023. Vigil service at her home in Ikem, Issues of local government area of Enugu State at 6 p.m. Friday, November 17, 2023, body leaves to Good Shepherd Specialist Hospital, Enugu, for her home. Funeral service on the same day at St. Andrew's Cathedral Church, Ikem, at 11 a.m. Interment follows immediately after service in her compound. She is survived by 4 children, Pastor David Ani, Mrs. Janet Ede, Mr. Lawrence Ani, and Engineer Dr. Samuel Ani, as well as host of other family members and friends. Adieu, Mama. Till we meet again in the resurrection morning. Rest in God's presence, Mama. Signed, Pastor David Ani, for the family.
Open door.
On that sad note, we end the news tonight. Do remember to join us tomorrow, same time at 7 p.m. for another fresh edition. Thanks for being there. Good night.
Welcome to Darling Court Hotels and Resorts, situated at 3 Airport Corner Road, Airport Corner Bus Stop along Airport Road, Emene, Enugu. A home away from home, where all your needs are available, even at an affordable rate. Our ultra-modern guest rooms, spacious parking lot, sports bar and recreational facilities, club lounge and VIP bar, guaranteed security, multi-purpose hall. Come and let us pamper you a little, and you will never regret it. For reservations and inquiries, call 0803-224-5229, 0812-344-3344, 0909-602-3096. Garden Court Hotels and Resorts. Staying is believing.
Chief, good morning, sir. You are here already?
No, now my spirit there, my body there for house. What kind of question is that? Were you not the one that fixed this meeting for 8 a.m.? You are now coming by 10 a.m. and start asking me job questions.
But Chief, now, I'm sorry. Don't you also go late for meetings sometimes? You know now, African time.
No more African time. And no more pancaking of face during office hours. At the end of the day, we will lose valuable time. We will not make progress. If we want to move this nation forward, we must treat business as business and respect time. Change begins with me.
Thank you, sir. I am sorry. Can we go for the meeting now, Chief?
Better.
This message is brought to you by the National Orientation Agency in conjunction with the Federal
Darling Court Hotels and Resorts, situated at 3 Airport Corner Road, Airport Corner Bus Stop along Airport Road, Emene, Enugu. A home away from home, where all your needs are available, even at an affordable rate. Our ultra-modern guest rooms, spacious parking lot, sports bar and recreational facilities, club lounge and VIP bar, guaranteed security, multi-purpose hall. Come and let us pamper you a little, and you will never regret it. For reservations and inquiries, call 0803-224-5229, 0812-344-3344, 0909-602-3096. Garden Court Hotels and Resorts. Staying is believing.
Can I see your particulars, sir?
Officer, my particulars no dey here.
In that case, you'll have to come with me to the police station.
Officer, which levels? Where I for find you something make you take arrange your weekend.
What? Offense number 1, driving without particulars. Offense number 2, trying to bribe an officer of the law.
I won't harass Nigerians or take bribe. Change begins with me.
This message is brought to you by the National Orientation Agency in conjunction with the Federal Ministry of Information and
I want to encourage all businesses and the general public to continue to perform their civic responsibility by paying their taxes as at Wednesday. Encourage is paid to pay your tax.
We went to the National Economic Council and we said to the governors, please adopt this committee as your committee. And they adopted us. So we have been adopted by the Federation, not just the federal government. This committee was not set up to make Nigerians pay more taxes. No, actually the contrary is the objective.
Hello and welcome to Tax Matters. It was another busy week this last week in the taxation sector. In one single day, Thursday the 9th of November 2023, the FIRS touched base with critical stakeholders. In Lagos, it was the FIRS Day at the 2023 Lagos International Trade Fair. It had been a whole week of teeming crowd visiting the FIRS stand at the Africa Hub located in the bowel of Tafawa Balewa Square venue of the trade fair. Also in Lagos, the chairman of the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms was at the University of Lagos, where the Center for Business, Law and Policy hosted a policy dialogue on the current fiscal and monetary reform in Nigeria, walking the talk. And in Abuja, the large tax department, oil and gas of the FIRS, hosted a stakeholders engagement for oil and gas downstream companies and tax consultants in the northern region, including the FCT. Each of these 3 events qualifies a standalone episode, and we'll get around to that in a few weeks. But on this episode, we will give you excerpts from those events. Call it an appetizer if you like. So sit down, relax, and enjoy this jolly ride into the world of information and education and taxation. I'm Chamaka Ohaochi.
I'm a very busy man. My business involves a lot of traveling and I interface with lots and lots of people and organizations. Tax compliance used to be a big drag on my business. It was time consuming and very costly. But now, no more. Introducing the FIRS Tax Pro Max, the truly fully end-to-end tax administration solution for companies' income tax, value-added tax, petroleum profits tax, and all other tax types. For fast, efficient, and convenient end-to-end tax experience, log on to www.taxpromax.firs.gov.ng. Tax Pro Max has turned things around for me. It is fast, user-friendly, and cost-effective. FIRS, making tax administration as easy as ABC.
Welcome once again. The Federal Inland Revenue Service rightly prides itself as a customer-centric institution, the customer here being the esteemed taxpayer. Taxpayers are considered by the FIRS as kings, and the service makes it a point of duty to meet with the kings anywhere that the opportunity provides itself, and so you find the FIRS teams at exhibitions and at trade fairs, even as it organizes stakeholder engagements from time to time. From Friday the 3rd to Sunday the 12th of November 2023, the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry hosted the 2023 Lagos International Trade Fair, and throughout the 10 days, the FIRS received visitors at its stand. High point of the 10-day fair was the FIRS Day, held on Thursday the 9th of November. On hand to welcome the teaming members of the public to the occasion was the president of the LCCI, who was ably represented by the deputy president, Mr. Gabriel Idahosa.
The host for the fair today, for this event, FIRS, plays a pivotal role in Nigeria's economic landscape. And these reforms have far-reaching implications for government, domestic, and foreign investors. FIRS has achieved remarkable tax revenue growth in recent times. The introduction of initiatives such as the tax toolmax, the one-click tax clearance certificate, and other technology tools for automation have streamlined tax administration processes. These reforms enhance transparency, accountability, and reporting to the taxpayer and to government. This moves towards a fully automated system is not just a game changer for revenue collection, but also for ease of doing business and a tax-friendly environment.
What an understanding, what a deep appreciation of the work being done by the FIRS. And coming from a foremost body like the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, it calls for cheer. Mr. Dahosa gave this charge.
We would also like to charge the agency on transparent tax administration that will foster investor confidence. We know a lot of this is being done already, but it is a continuous journey. Tax administration should foster investor confidence and at the same time enhance transparency because they are connected. Through reforms, investors and the business community can trust that their tax payments haven't been collected contribute to national development. By eliminating duplicity of taxes and improving service delivery, FIRS minimizes transaction costs for businesses. This creates a more favorable environment for investment, a robust and equitable tax system, attracting foreign investors, and ensuring that their continuous success is guaranteed by the transparency of the system.
Executive Chairman FIRS Dr. Zacchaeus Adedeji was ably represented at the FIRS Day by the State Coordinator, Lagos Island Region, Mrs. Fadeke Oyeniyi.
This day is geared toward educating and sensitizing our major esteemed stakeholder, the taxpayer. You are the king, and we are here to serve you. That's why you can see service in our name, Federal Inland Revenue Service. We are here to serve you. Federal Inland Revenue Service is empowered by law to assess, collect, and account for taxes collected on behalf of federal government. The role FIRS plays in the economic growth and development of our nation cannot be overemphasized, as the revenue from crude oil is constantly nosediving and the only sustainable revenue to government today is tax. It is imperative to know that FIRS contribution to FAC, Federation Account Allocation Committee, account for more than 70% of the total revenue distributed to all various tiers of government. Taxpayers, being our esteemed stakeholders, must understand their tax obligations and rights. It is imperative to keep them informed, sensitized, and engaged to enable them to fulfill their tax obligation without any issue. And that is the reason why we are here today, to showcase FRS.
Mrs. Oyeni continues.
The theme of this year's Lagos International Trade Fair is connecting businesses. Creating value is in tandem with the physical goal of the current administration of taxing prosperity and not poverty. The aim is to provide an enabling environment for businesses to strive through value creation. The current administration of Federal Land Revenue Service, led by Dr. Sir Adedeji, is committed to improve the revenue collection by the service using cutting-edge technology and various laudable reforms that will increase the country's tax to GDP to 18% in the next 3 years from the current 10.8%. I want to encourage all businesses and the general public to continue to perform their civic responsibility by paying their taxes as at when due. I also encourage taxpayers to make use of the newly introduced tax solution, which is called tax format, for ease of registration, filing, payment, and other tax obligations at the comfort of their homes and offices. The service also have a world-class, fully automated contact center where taxpayers can call in to log in their complaints and inquiries in various languages, and they will be attended to. The contact center open 24 hours a day and is multilingual. A taxpayer can call in different languages and they will be attended to by our proper professional staff. We have also introduced a self-service station in all our offices across the country, where taxpayers can access all our services on tax format with a dedicated computer system and personnel to assist them. These lofty initiatives are meant to make tax compliance as easy as ABC.
Tax Matters spoke to Mrs. Omonike Meyaki, Tax Controller, Bar Beach Micro and Small Tax Office, Lagos.
This international trade fair for this year, I will tell you that it is full, and from what I have seen so far, it has brought so many businesses together, and these businesses, they are our stakeholders, they are our taxpayers. So we are happy that we are able to, through our stand and the special day of FIRS, tell people who we are, what we stand for, and to let them know in all that we are serving them.
We can confirm that the FIRS had indeed a good outing at the 2023 Lagos International Trade Fair. We move on to our next story, and it is on the same trajectory, that is, constant dialogue with stakeholders. On the same day of the trade fair outing, Thursday 9th November, the Large Tax Department Oil and Gas of the FIRS hosted a stakeholders engagement for oil and gas downstream companies and tax consultants in the northern region, including the FCT, with the theme, Platform for Informed Conversation on Oil and Gas Downstream Operations. It was well attended. Alhaji Bello is the Acting Director, Large Tax Department Oil and Gas.
Considering the vital role your sector play in the Nigerian economy and specifically to the service revenue draft mender, it becomes necessary to organize this workshop with the theme Platform for Informed conversation on oil and gas downstream.
Executive Chairman FRS, Dr. Zacchaeus Adedeji, was represented by the Coordinating Director, Special Tax Operations Group, Hajia Aminado.
The downstream sector is more than, by any kind of estimate, more than 15 trillion in terms of its turnover. I can imagine if this sector really works the way it should, what it will mean for Nigeria. And we want to make sure that we collaborate with you to ensure that you continue to contribute towards national development. As we interact today, really the important thing is to help us understand you and help you also understand your obligations as taxpayers, and for us to get feedback from you on how we can serve you better, because we are Federal Inland Revenue Service, and that service is actually a very important part of it. In fact, if you look at our Establishment Act, it refers to us as the service. So it is in that spirit that we are engaging with the people, the taxpayers that we are serving.
Opening formalities over, presentations were made. The first was an overview of the operational function of large tax oil and gas, delivered by Mr. Inobong Umo, Tax Controller, Large Tax Department, Oil and Gas, Abuja.
FRS operates a self-assessment regime, as we all know. Self-assessment is nothing but a method whereby a taxpayer is required to correctly compute all tax liability, properly complete tax returns, files the self-assessment, and submits the tax returns together with the accompanying documents on or before the due date. The self-assessment tax system encourages voluntary compliance because of the liberty it grants the taxpayers to compute his tax by himself, make payments, and file returns by the due dates. Every company is expected to file the following documents with the tax authority on Tax Pro Max.
The second presentation was on Tax Pro Max, delivered by Mr. Mbami Shongwam of the Tax Pro Max team.
As we know, Tax Pro Max is a homegrown solution. It is an integrated tax administration solution which actually performs the functions of the service. It assesses, it collects, it accounts. So it's also a revenue assurance tool. So whatever you need to do in FRS as pertains to tax administration is being carried out on the solution called Tax Pro Max. It accepts your returns, it assesses you, it gives you a bill, you pay what you need to pay, you reconcile your ledger, it goes further to give you receipt for your payment, give you TCC on request if you qualify.
The last presentation was on the tax audit process, delivered by Mrs. Victoria Leby, Head of Audit, Oil and Gas, Abuja. Mrs. Leby seized the opportunity to disabuse the minds of our audience with regards to the purpose of tax audits.
Do not be afraid of tax audits. Tax audits is not based on maybe you have been reported, as people would likely hope or think. Probably my tax auditor or my consultant or somebody is after my business. No. The self-assessment regime requires concurrent filing of returns and payment of tax due for the due dates, as we have been abreast through the TC and the tax promos. Relevant tax law shall accept tax returns submitted, but empowered to audit the returns thereafter. You are to run the business, prepare your records, come up with your assessment. The only tool is for FRS to come on routine check, which is audits, as a feedback. Hence, it's mandatory for companies or taxpayers to undergo a routine tax audit. However, FRS adopt risk profiling and reform criteria for audit case selection and this is backed up by a state law, FR Establishment Act 26 and 35. Basic objectives of tax audits include: it promotes voluntary compliance, ensure that taxpayers pay their fair share of tax. You are not expected to pay what you are supposed. You are not to pay what is due from you. Ensure that each taxpayer have their fair share of tax. Confirm adherence to prevailing tax laws. Verify reported position with confidence. To dictate and deter tax avoidance and evasion. Impose sanctions where appropriate.
The presentations were followed by a robust question and answer session. We did say at the introduction of the episode that each of the 3 events that took place on Thursday, 9th November 2023 qualifies as standalone episodes in their individual rights. We all know too well that even as Nigeria rightly strives to make non-oil revenue the higher contributor to Nigeria's revenue base, oil and gas will, for quite some time to come, remain a major contributor. So the story of these stakeholders' engagement with oil and gas industry operators will come to you in fuller detail in a subsequent episode, or we dare say subsequent episodes of the program. You are still on to tax matters. A few episodes ago, we told you the story of the retreat held by the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in Akwa Ibom State, solely devoted to tax and fiscal reforms. We also told you the story of the national essay competition organized by the CITN for members of the Association of Nigerian Taxation Students, ANTAS, which was also solely devoted to tax and fiscal reforms. And we recall making the point that support for the efforts of government to reform the Nigerian tax system is coming from all angles. On Thursday, the 9th of November, the magical date, the Department for Center for Business, Law and Policy hosted a policy dialogue on the current fiscal and monetary reform in Nigeria, walking the talk. In attendance was the chairman of the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms, Mr. Taiwo Oyedele. Mr. Oyedele presented a paper on the theme of the event, which was followed by discussion by a panel of discussants. Thereafter, participants at the dialogue took turns to express their views and ask questions. In response to the various observations and questions, Mr. Oyedele went into a very enlightening and detailed presentation of the Quick Wins report presented by his committee to President Tinubu on Tuesday, the 24th of October 2023.
The main focus of the work of the committee is fiscal policies. Fiscal policies has 3 components. It has revenue, it has spending, and it has borrowing. But by extension, the president also said, help me with coordination of my economic policies, particularly fiscal policy and monetary policy. That is why our committee has so many people. Even the central bank is a member of our committee. The debt management office is also a member of the committee. Of course, FRS. There was another question about this work. How are you going to get the state to do it, since they are the ones that, bring multiple taxation the most? Yes, we recognize that. So we went to the National Economic Council and we said to the governors, please adopt this committee as your committee. And they adopted us. So we have been adopted by the federation, not just the federal government, which I think is good. So let me quickly discuss the Quick Wins report. So the work of the committee is divided into milestones or phases. Phase 1 is help us find quick wins of things we can do very quickly, where you don't need to go and speak to 100 million Nigerians before you know whether it's right or wrong. That was the report we gave to Mr. President about 2 weeks ago. Phase 2 is critical reforms. Under critical reforms, we are rewriting all the major tax laws in Nigeria. We are rewriting them afresh. We are proposing amendment to the Constitution of Nigeria to clarify taxing rights. For example, who should collect VAT? We don't need Supreme Court to tell us who should collect VAT. we need to come together and say, this is who should collect it. So, that's critical reform. The third phase is implementation. So one thing that is different about this committee is it's not a committee to submit white paper and then we start debating it 15 years later. The number one recommendation is managing cost of governance. Government needs to optimize value from their assets, government-owned enterprises, and natural resources. Second one is we said that there should be better collaboration between MDAs. We also said that government should start implementing technology for expanding the tax base and the tax nets. So I think one thing that came out from this discussion so far, and I'm glad I'm here to correct, is that this committee was not set up to make Nigerians pay more taxes. No. Actually, the contrary is the objective. The objective is that data is showing us that the vast majority of people at the bottom of the ladder have been the one paying the taxes. And that is very different from what we have seen in every country where the system is working. In countries where the system is working, they protect the poor people. Including South Africa that I gave you the example, they have a high threshold for exemption. Brazil, a few weeks ago, just increased their exemption to about 400,000 naira equivalent per month, for which you don't pay personal income tax. UK has 13,000 pounds. You don't pay any income tax. Because by their standard, you are poor with 13,000 pounds. That's about 15 million naira. I'm not suggesting that Nigeria should do 15 million naira. I'm saying Nigeria should define what is that threshold that reasonably protects someone so they can still have the basics of life without you extracting more taxes from them.
Time will not permit us to serve you the full presentation of Mr. Oyedele. We assure you that it will come to you in subsequent episodes of Tax Matters. We thank you once again for riding with us on this journey to the world of taxation in Nigeria. Remember, it pays to pay your tax. Bye for now.